Are you ready?
Welcome to Going Down with Ella Yurman. My name is Ella Yurman. Sometimes we put a joke here, but this time we didn't. The FDA bumped a tomato recall recently to the highest risk level due to salmonella contamination. Salmonella can cause fever, diarrhea, and vomiting. If you're a fucking pussy. In a public fight on X.com, Elon Musk claimed that Trump is in the Epstein files. And also, he said, there's some stuff about him that I don't like. FBI Director Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan recently. And during the interview, he learned about the Trump-Musk feud in real time. You know, it's nice to see the head of the Federal Intelligence Bureau getting his news live from Joe Rogan, instead of the usual way, rewatching it later with captions at the gym. The big, beautiful bill is now being debated in the Senate, and if it passes, it would ban gender-affirming care for hundreds of thousands of trans people on Medicaid. Dr. Oz defended the bill, saying that people on Medicaid should, quote, prove that they matter. Bitch, you first. Dr. Oz. Israel launched an attack on Iran's nuclear and military structures this week, days after intercepting the Gaza aid ship with Greta Thunberg, which they mockingly called a selfie yacht. Bold words from a country that routinely sends selfie tanks to do selfie school bombings. In a reversal of Biden-era policy, ICE is now allowed to make arrests at sensitive locations, like schools and hospitals and churches and courthouses. Also in a reversal from Biden-era policy, liberals have announced plans to care. During massive anti-ICE demonstrations in Los Angeles, protesters have blocked traffic and set fire to Waymos, making the city Waymo better. Get it? Waymo better! Shortly after the protests began, Trump sent both the National Guard and the Marines to LA. Here's to hoping that they do what everyone who moves to LA does: fail. In other immigration news, last month, white South Africans began arriving in the US under a new refugee program, proving that yes, it is possible to make the vibe at a white nationalist rally even worse. New York's mayoral primary is June 24th. At the first debate, Cuomo said that Trump would go through Zohran Mamdani like a hot knife through butter. Girl, same, get in line. He also said Mamdani's been in government for 27 minutes. You know what else he can be in for 27 minutes? We've got a great show for you tonight! It's Pride, so we're gonna check in on the state of queer media. Frankie Cosmos is here! And then, I have one or two things to say about some of my fellow Jews. But first, ever since Trump announced his astronomical tariffs, the stock market has been swinging harder than your grandparents. Oh, what? You think they've been playing bridge all these years? Grow up. Anyway, Wall Street's a mess, and here to talk about it is a Wall Street trader who's been affected. Please welcome international portfolio analyst at Alpha Alpha Management, Richard Richinson.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Ella. Thank you so much. And to the workers behind the camera who made this segment possible, I stand with you.
Wait, hold on. You're Richard Richinson? You're the Wall Street trader who once screamed at an intern so bad they permanently moved to Martha's Vineyard to drunk drive full time?
That's me. I'm glad you heard about that.
Yeah.
That is me, but that's the old me. I've changed. I realized that when Trump instituted these tariffs, I realized the free market is a pyramid scheme. After I took a look at my portfolio and saw that it was down 40%. You know, I'm like you, Ella. I'm socially conscious, caring, and I'm filled toes to tits with ketamine.
What are you talking about? You're here to explain this graph to me.
Oh, that? That is late capitalism eating itself. And tariffs are violence. They are. I heard that on a podcast. The Cheeto in chief is destroying this country with his insanity.
Oh, wait a minute. It actually looks like the Dow is going up.
Oh, interesting. Well, actually, now that I think about it, tariffs can totally protect domestic industries. And look at Reagan. Look at China. I just bought a house in the Catskills. Full cash. The market is doing exactly what it should, sorting the weak from the worthy. Every tariff Trump slaps on Chinese aluminum is like a cold plunge, refreshing, rejuvenating, erecting. Ooh, MAGA 2028, baby!
Oh, hold on. I do think the market's dropping again. Wait, what's going on here? Are you pro or anti-MAGA? I thought tariffs were violence?
Yes, they are. They totally are. And you know what else is violence? The nuclear family. I have always said that, Ella. I would scissor Bernie Sanders to save this country.
Oh,
I really would.
Please don't.
Well, look, I joined 3 labor organizing discords this morning. I'm learning things, like what a bisexual lesbian is. Oh, Ella, did you know that love is action? Oh boy, speaking of love, you feel that? Oh, that's the invisible hand giving us all a hand job. The system works, Ella. The economy has not been this exciting since the 1930s when my great-grandpa blew a guy for a potato. Jealous! No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I love my beautiful, age-appropriate, heterosexual wife.
Hold on. So when the market's down, you're a queer Marxist, and when it's up, what, you're horny for numbers?
I contain multitudes. Like Walt Whitman and Citibank. Oh, honestly, look at that. I've always believed in the resilience of the American economy. It's why I invested early in VR toddler gyms and injectable egg salad. Vision, baby. Oh, fuck yes, look at that. That is economic virility, bitch. Oh, I just got hard and bought a 3rd gastropub.
What are you talking about? These tariffs are terrible. They're raising consumer prices and destroying small businesses, and they're tanking retirement funds.
Yeah, good. Capitalism isn't supposed to be comfortable. Ooh, it's supposed to be correct. If your candle shop in Boise can't handle a 400% steel surcharge, maybe it wasn't meant to survive. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, I just remember I still believe in like community and mutual gains. No, not mutual gains, mutual aid.
No, you don't. You're not radicalized. You're rebranding every 45 seconds to feel safe.
No, that is not true. I mean, no, look, I believe women. I do. I really do. I mean, oh, cool. God bless this great nation.
Okay,
yeah!
Richard Richinson, everyone.
Oh, no. Oh, fuck. I told my wife that if the market dropped below 30,000, I was going to join a polycule and change my name to Lilith. Shit. So I guess it's time to download Lex, or should I do Field? I don't know. Is there one that's just like alleyways and stuff?
No, we'll be right back. Welcome back. She, theys, and bi women with boyfriends, it's your month. This pride feels extra bittersweet, what with the everything. Between the Trump team trying to outlaw wokeness, gutting DEI, and ramping up attacks on trans people across the country, it's a weird time to be gay. And it's an even weirder time to be gay with a press badge. Here to talk about all that and more is the new editor-in-chief of Them.us, Fran Tirado. Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
It's my absolute pleasure.
I'm so glad you're here. All right, first question in 240 characters or less. What is Them and who are you?
You know, unfortunately, concision is not my strong suit. I don't know if I'm going to get the 240 character count. However, I would say Them is a media outlet that reports on the world and culture at the intersection of gender and sexuality, and also reminds people that queer and trans people are like the arbiters of culture and like the creators of everything cool ever always. I feel like that's kind of my job.
Yeah.
What do I do?
What do you do?
Well, an editor, they edit words. They take letters out sometimes, punctuation. No, actually, it's really funny. As an editor-in-chief, a lot of my job is actually not editing anymore, which is like kind of boring. I think the best parts of my job are like actually editing and like curating and assigning work. But yeah, an editor, I guess, just kind of identifies moments in the culture and tries to extract them, or like curate, or honestly like listening. It's a big part of just like listening to the team and like hearing what everyone's talking about, and then collating it together and then being like, okay, what's up with the culture right now?
Yeah, I mean, as arguably the largest and best funded queer news media website in the world, question mark?
Sure, okay. I mean, I've worked for a lot of my competitors, so yeah,
Sure.
okay, I think that's true.
Do you feel responsible for tone setting the national conversation when you are doing that highlighting?
Kind of. I mean, it's a really interesting time to be a prominent transsexual in media. And I think that I also just in background have been in like queer media for 15, in queer media, as they say, for like 15 years or 14, 15 years. And I have personally controlled the media at many points, and I'm proud to say that. So in and outside of this job, I guess I would say, yes, I like controlling people and what they think and what they feel. But within the context of the job, I would say, we try to show up for the stories that are important, and then we also try to show up for the things that like make us giggle. Like we like to shitpost, and we deserve to do that. You know what I mean?
Noticed the shit posting.
Oh my God, thank you. I mean, them has been shitposting. It's just like one of the things that I've just recently been appointed, and so I feel like it's one of the things that I really love to do with the team.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, what is your approach as the new editor-in-chief? What new directions do you want to take this incredibly important magazine?
I mean, so it's funny, like, Them has been around for 8 years. It's a pretty young brand. Over the last 3 years, like, the team that has been, like, pumping and grinding has, like, really added so much, like, reporting and journalistic integrity, and like and it's just become like a completely new visionary thing with like amazing quality content. And I feel like a big part of what I'm doing really is just packaging it and showing people that like, yeah, we are the best. Like to the effect of what you said earlier, like we really kind of are the best LGBTQ media brand. I'm sorry. I'm happy to say that. But yeah, no, yeah. Does that answer your question? I don't even know if that was a full answer.
I think so. I stopped listening when you said pumping and grinding.
Trigger.
How do you feel that Them fits into the larger like news media ecosystem? You're obviously owned by Condé Nast, where there are lots of magazines, and then you've talked about queer competitors. Yeah, how do you feel Them fits into that landscape?
We kind of get, I mean, in terms of like LGBTQ media competitors, I think that we try our best to just like do our own thing. Like nobody really does what Them does, at least from the outset. They copy us all the time. But in terms of like the broader media landscape, something that we are always thinking about and talking about and analyzing as a team is like, this is like a year where like mainstream media is reporting on trans issues more than any other year I've seen in my like life or like my experience. And so knowing that, you know, if something trans happens and that the next day, you know, Washington Post and Fox and like NY New York Times and all these different outlets are going to report on it, we get to look at all of that and say, are we able to do it better? How do we nuance the conversation? How do we like cover the bases that they didn't account for? And also, if it's already been covered and we just want to do something about transgender mice, then let's just do that.
Well, when you think about stories like transgender mice, like who is your target audience on a day-to-day basis? Are you making queer media for us, or are you making queer media for the cis-hets?
Well, I don't actually know if you know this, but 80% of our readership is mice. So really, I think about them first and foremost. The mice.
The mice. And how many of those mice are transgender?
Apparently a lot. Yeah, just to reference, back then when Trump said something crazy about transgender rights, I can't even remember, it's like a State of the Union address or whatever. Like, I think the best content we make is like when our Slack becomes like a really intense and funny group chat. And we just started riffing and we were like, oh, what if we did mice ranked from least to most transgender? And I immediately was like, oh, well, Minnie's cis down. Like, there's no way. And it was actually a heated debate because James Factora, sorry to put you on the record, but
Wow.
like they really were like, oh, no, Minnie's like, that's a T for T couple, like blah, blah, blah. And we were like arguing and like, not arguing, but ultimately I was like, I'm using my editorial authority and I actually really feel like Minnie is cis.
That mouse is fish as hell.
That's what I'm saying.
That is about all the time we have right now. If you want more of Fran, you can go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/goingdownshow. We're going to keep talking for a little bit. Bye. And now, a word from our sponsor. Hi, I'm Ella Yurman from the hit comedy news television show Going Down with Ella Yurman, here to tell you that we've got a live taping coming up on June 27th at 10:30 p.m. at the UCB Theater in Manhattan. Tickets available in the video description. Probably. I don't know. I'm not in charge of that stuff. Bye. Welcome back to Going Down. For our final story tonight, I would like to speak to you as a Jew. What's the deal with anti-Semitism? One day it's don't shoot up synagogues, and the next it's arrest that girl who's holding a Palestinian flag on the quad. That's like comparing a paper cut to a circumcision. Also, how old's the girl on the quad, and is she single? Seinfeld dates young women. That was me doing a Seinfeld impression. If you didn't like that, you're anti-Semitic. Yeah. In fact, any criticism of anything I say in this episode is anti-Semitic. Yeah, how do you like them apples? With honey. But Rosh Hashanah is not until September. Also, hold on. Seinfeld's a Zionist, so he would not be into the girl holding the Palestinian flag on the quad. In fact, he'd probably report her to a site like Canary Mission. Canary what? I'm so glad you asked. As the genocide in Gaza has escalated, Zionists and Israeli sympathizers have worked to conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, labeling any kind of protest as hate, which is pretty dumb conflation. Judaism is a 3,000-year-old religion rooted in questioning authority and jellied fish. Israel is a 77 years young colonial project rooted in a marvelous militaristic fable. Leading the charge in this conflation is Canary Mission, a website that claims to combat anti-Semitism but is far more sinister, like Woody Allen, or latkes with barbecue sauce. Since launching in 2015, Canary Mission has compiled online profiles on thousands of college students and professors and activists who have criticized Israel. They want to be the final solution to the Gaza problem. And again, you cannot get mad at me for that joke, or I will tell everyone that you are worse than Mel Gibson. Canary Mission creates profiles for things as minor as tweeting Free Palestine once, signing a ceasefire petition, or even just commenting on Zoran Mamdani's hung smile. The profiles include full names, photos, workplaces, social media, and breathless write-ups, accusing people of being anti-Jewish, anti-American, and or anti-Israel. Friend of the show, Aditi Rao, got written up for organizing a walkout of the Princeton campus in 2023, a crime which earned her 20 paragraphs and 33 screenshots on the Canary site, including, and this is true, a screenshot of her Spotify Wrapped. As far as we can tell, the only reason this is here is because her number 4 artist is Silver Jews. What? You wanted them to be gold? Now that's anti-Semitic. The site uses its clean, professional appearance and ethics policy, written in the language of institutional safety and accountability, to appeal to liberals. Unlike right-wing accounts like Libs of TikTok, which trade in outrage and obvious bigotry, it doesn't appear dangerous. But the only way you can get off Canary Mission is if you issue a public apology and profess support for Israel. So it's not just doxing, it's ideological extortion. It's birthright, but with a gun to your head. And you don't even get to lose your virginity. If that sounds like a wildly unreasonable standard for proving you're not anti-Semitic, it is. Because Canary Mission's real goal isn't fighting hate, it's manufacturing fear. They're fiddling on the roof of McCarthyism. They're weaponizing Jewish identity to blacklist, intimidate, and silence political dissent, framing people not just as threats to Jews, but as threats to American national security. Which obviously has real-world consequences. Tough student Rumeysa Ozturk was ambushed by plainclothes ICE officers just weeks after appearing on Canary Mission. Mohsen Madawi was arrested in April, shortly after being added to the site. People have been denied jobs, interrogated at borders, put under surveillance, arrested, and deported. Canary Mission is funded, of course, by shady anonymous donations funneled through nonprofits. So, yeah, in this case, they really do control the media. But just in this one specific case. A recent investigation traced over $100,000 from the Helen Diller Foundation, money allegedly meant for Jewish teen education, into the Canary Mission via a string of shell orgs that ultimately terminate in a group called Megamot Shalom. Which in Hebrew roughly translates to, stop asking questions, bitch. And they're not alone. Batar USA explicitly brags about the White House using their blacklists, and CAMRA, or the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting and Analysis, has been around since the 1980s, and it pressures media outlets to slant coverage in Israel's favor. Their donor list includes right-wing billionaires like Sheldon Adelson and Seth Klarman, which is what you would get if you typed "name 2 evil billionaires" into an anti-Semitic AI. And then, a little further downstream, MACA, Mothers Against College Anti-Semitism, and DJHC, Documenting Jew Hatred on Campus, are organizations that try to get students deported. One of MACA's founders, Elizabeth Rand, encouraged people to report foreign students who support Hamas to ICE. This woman is a practicing lawyer in Manhattan. She represents Diddy. Okay, not really, but you believe me for a second, and doesn't that prove something? Canary Mission and groups like it don't fight anti-Semitism. They exploit it. They weaponize Jewish identity to defend Zionist power and uphold the U.S. empire. And they don't just happen to all be using the same bag of tricks. It's targeted, tactical, and coordinated. Project Esther, launched in 2023 by everyone's favorite Spectre knockoff, the Heritage Foundation, has spent the last year and a half actively working to reframe pro-Palestine speech as material support for terrorism. And for the record, the Zionists behind Project Esther who are using Judaism as a cudgel are, by and large, conservative evangelical Christians. Why are Christians suddenly back into Jews? Did someone figure out how to turn water into wine? I guess that's Adam Sandler. But while it's easy to point at the scary Christians and blame Jewish identity and claim that it's being misappropriated, this discourse isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it's meant to. Merging Zionism with Jewishness has been the explicit goal of mainstream American Judaism since 1967. This is just the obvious conclusion to that game plan. And when Israel claims to speak for all Jews, it not only enables and empowers fascist atrocities, it destroys our ability to fight the real thing. Nazis marching, synagogues defaced, Kanye. But a hijabi sophomore tweets Free Palestine, suddenly she's female Hitler. Clitler. If you know someone targeted by Canary Mission or a similar org, support them loudly. If you're a Jew, that shouldn't be difficult. There's a reason there's no Jewish mimes. Point friends and family targeted by Canary Mission to places like JVP and Palestine Legal for Aid. Signal boost. Again, especially if you are a Jew. This is being done in our name. Questioning authority is supposed to be a core part of Judaism. It's one of the reasons why there are so many goddamn Jewish comedians. So why aren't we doing it? We need to be saying, not in our name! Not with our money. Not with your blacklist. Not with these fake definitions and real consequences. Not with our silence. Not at all. We'll be right back. That's our show! Thank you to Brick, to Peter, to Fran, Frankie Cosmos, Reid, Skylar, our writers, our patrons, our incredible crew, and of course to our live studio audience. Give it up for yourselves! Good night!
You and your apolitical friend, you think it's the end. We're all kidding ourselves. You're cynical and always right. I put up a fight. You've got the world on your shelf. Can you live with yourself? No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it. Can you live with yourself? I heard you studied philosophy at an Ivy League, and you did it just for fun. No need to fight for change. Just cast off blame. Look in the mirror, swallow your shame.
It's cool you're reading Sartre and Proust. Why not put them to use? And choose the world that you're in. And if you're hearing the song and you're singing along, then it's not too late to begin. And if not, well,
Can you live with yourself? No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it. Can you live with yourself? You know what they say. First they came for all the people I don't care about. Though I'm sure after this war we'll all know peace and no one will comfort me. 'Cause history never repeats. I bet you wonder how I fucking sleep.
Hi, I'm Ella Yurman, host of Going Down with Ella Yurman. Does our title make you think of a sinking ship or oral sex? If you said ship, you crave stability. If you said oral, you crave validation. Either way, like, subscribe, go down below and leave a comment. And then go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/goingdownshow for exclusive content and hot takes that I legally can't post on Maine. That's patreon.com/goingdownshow. Bye! Mwah.